You're listening to the Bulldog Hour, getting you inside the Wilson football program with weekly game previews, recaps, highlights, and interviews. Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffoff.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Bulldog Hour. I am one of your hosts, Joe Mays. Here with me, as always, is my co-host, Justin Raffoff, and we're actually going to be joined this evening for the entirety of the program here in studio with a special guest here on episode 5 of the Bulldog Hour's 12th season. So Justin and I are really excited about this one, and we're going to have a great time here this evening. Let me see if I can get these cameras working here properly and make sure that everyone's in the shot. There we go. Look at that. Perfect. So we want to welcome to the program a Wilson class of 2022 graduate, a recent Albright College graduate, and someone that has a link to an event that the Wilson football program and the community at large has been doing now for a couple years, about year number 3, I think, coming up. And we're going to talk about Salute to Service here with Tyler Boland. Tyler, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So looking forward to talking about not just Salute to Service, but also your school project, passion project, and now looking closer and closer to being a career, it seems, with keepinghistoryalive.org. So Justin and I are very excited to talk to you about that at length here in just a few moments. All right. So first, Justin and I do want to just kind of quick recap. Well, not really recap, but just say thank you to everyone who attended the Tobias Frog event
great
was that
attendance.
Tuesday? I think it was
Tuesday,
Justin.
yep.
Yeah. So Tuesday night we were at Tobias Frog. So thank you to Bill Ashcroft for having us and the Wilson Football Parents Organization for inviting us to kind of be the, I don't know if you want to call it entertainment, because I don't know if we entertained too many people because it was so loud there, because it was so well attended.
Right,
So,
exactly. Good problem to have.
excellent problem to have, absolutely. So we appreciate everyone coming out, and to the multitude of seniors. I think we hit almost 20 of the 23 or 24 seniors on the team were able to be there and volunteered to be interviewed. We talked to almost the entire coaching staff. So it was a great time and a great kickoff to the season, which is right around the corner. We're less than a week away from the first scrimmage, or the only scrimmage now, down at Coatesville. So I just wanted to make sure we thanked everyone for that, especially attending. It was a great time. Also, as always, we want to thank our season sponsors here at the Bulldog Hour. May's Sandwich Shop, my dad and sister, been here since the start of the program now, over 11 years ago. And then Steve Simon's S&S Mechanical, as well as the Valley Bar and Grill, which has a big to-do with us, Justin, here.
Because a little foreshadowing.
Yeah, we're going back on the road already next weekend, so there will be no Sunday show.
It had been a long time since the Bulldog Hour went on the road.
100%. It was,
and here we are twice in a week and a half.
Yes. So it's happening again, and we won't have a show next Sunday. We will be Saturday. It'll be Wilson night at the Valley Bar and Grill. So Saturday, August 22nd, it's the same day as the scrimmage. So go down to Coatesville, watch the scrimmage, and then come join us at the Valley Bar and Grill for a live recording of our show. And we're welcoming in SV Sports and Burke Sports Reports Paul Roberts, and we will preview every game on the Wilson regular season like we do every year. So that should be a great one.
Paul is going to have the deep dive on all the stats and insight to every team. Like
absolutely,
man, his notebook, he wears that thing out.
Absolutely, yeah. So, that's all I have really for the announcements. I'm throwing up the schedule there just so people can really familiarize themselves with that. Again, scrimmage next Saturday, our show that night at the Valley, and then you're in week 1 prep when heading to Shillington the following Friday, the first Friday of a new school year. So looks like it's going to be a great time. So let's dive in now with our guest, Tyler Boland. Justin doesn't know anything about this. I want to put you both on the hot seat here.
Oh gosh.
So the first thing actually, Tyler, was I was going to quiz you on naming every president in their term in order because I heard you can do that. But Justin failed prep for that, so we didn't want to embarrass him too much. We knew you would ace it, though. So the one I do want to throw at you, and actually this isn't at you, this is at him.
Okay.
Because you know the answer to this.
Okay.
At least I hope my research turned up the correct question. We're going to play a little Jeopardy here. I'm going to throw this up. Justin, this one's for you.
Okay.
It's a little bit before your time locally, but you'll know. I think you'll know. This West Lawn restaurant was owned by our guest's great-grandparents until 1997, with its former location now occupied by a Philadelphia-based convenience store chain. What is that restaurant? He lived down in Columbia at this time, but I think he might have heard of it.
I would be shocked if I haven't heard of it, but I do not know the answer.
You do not know the answer.
I do not. I am stumped.
All right. Tyler?
I think it's the Queen of the Valley.
I'm looking for the other one.
Oh, the Hitching Post.
There you go.
Oh,
There you
okay.
go. Yeah.
Yep.
You're obviously you're right about that. They also own the Queen.
All right. Good?
Yeah, you're good to
Okay.
go. I'll play with this.
All right. So I could talk for 5 hours about how I got into it. But basically, I was always into history. My mom was a history teacher. So growing up, as you know, I can name all the presidents, which is funny. Yeah, so I always liked history. And, ninth grade, 10th grade in high school, I really was kind of getting into the World War II stuff. We were supposed to meet a vet in history class. Didn't happen. He passed away. But later that year, I met a World War II vet in Reading. And I always wanted to know more about my grandpa. I know he was a Marine in the Pacific during World War II. And I kind of said to myself the summer after freshman year, I'm gonna honor him the best I can and interview as many World War II vets as I can. So that's the very basics of how I got into it. So yeah.
Okay. And both great grandfathers were in in World War II.
Yeah, my mom's dad was the Marine, and my dad's dad was in Admiral King's fleet in the Atlantic and the Pacific. So yeah.
And how much did you or your family know about their service before you kind of got into this research and exposure aspect?
Very, very little.
Okay.
Like they knew like Marines and Navy, and that was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you able to fill in those gaps, or did they have anything from their service time?
The one in the Navy, there's like nothing that we have, but there's very little from my pop-up that was Marine. I found his DD 214, and through that I was able to kind of fill in the gaps. So.
And was that a spark for where you took this or
Yeah.
eventually got to? That was kind of the reason for starting what you've done?
Yeah, because my pop-up was my hero, and I never met him. He died 10 years before I was born, but I always saw like pictures around the house and old family videos and of him, and I was kind of like, I want to know what pop-up did. And then I was like, well, if I figure it out, I don't want other families to feel how I felt. Like, what did their pop-up do? So I'm like, I'm gonna go around and document as many World War II vets as I can, and it just kind of took off from there. So
Yeah. So we've been dancing around it. You started. Now you have a website. You have a Facebook page. You have a YouTube account. Keeping History Alive. KeepingHistoryAlive.org. So it started as a school project initially?
kinda.
Okay.
Yeah. It was kind of like a school project. I think in 9th or 10th grade, we had to interview a vet or something. And I think once I did one interview, I was kind of like, oh, yeah, this is cool. So,
This is fun to do.
yeah.
And then what were the next steps? Were you able to make connection? How were you able to make connections to do this?
Well, when I first got into it, I was like, all right, where the World War II vets are old, and where do old people live? Nursing homes. So I was kind of like, I'll reach out to, nursing homes. But when I first got into it, they were kind of like, who's this young kid showing up
Sure.
wanting to meet,
Well,
Bob.
hesitation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but after a couple months of doing that, I kind of got a reputation like, oh, he's just wanted to talk to some service members from World War II, so it definitely took at least a year to kind of gain that trust, of nursing homes and, reaching out to people. So, Yeah.
And who was your first interview? Who do you consider your first interview for the project then?
His name was Joseph Zebertavage. He was in the Navy. He was on the USS O'Brien, and he was at D-Day, and he was at Okinawa. He was in the Navy. It was like a Fletcher class destroyer, I believe. So yeah, he was my first interview.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now it didn't start as a video project though. It was
No.
just kind of a research pen and paper type thing.
Yep.
What was the spark for you to turn it into a video project?
Well, my dad owned a video production company, and when he sold the company, he kept most of the equipment. So when I came home from that interview, I was like, "Oh wow, that was great." Blah blah blah. And he was like, "Why don't you record it?" And then he let me use his camera equipment, and that's kind of what got me doing it. Every time I meet a vet, I always bring camera, microphone, lights, everything, just to record their service stories. So. Yeah, that's kind of how that started.
So once things kind of snowballed and you got the positive reputation, were you having people reach out to you?
Short answer, yes. So for the longest time, like throughout high school, I had to reach out to people. But it was, I think, a year and a half ago, 2 years, I was featured on ABC. And that's what really kind of blew things up. They featured me on David Muir Tonight, ABC Tonight. And after like 2 years ago, people now reach out to me. I mean, I still reach out to some, but I'd say 80 to 90% of the vets that I interview now are like family members saying, Pop-Up was in the war, you want to come talk to him, or so now people reach out to me. So it's definitely very helpful.
Justin? Anything?
Yeah, no, I think that's really cool. Finding something, it's cool that it started as like your own family thing, but then obviously has grown into this massive thing. If there's, I know this is kind of, I don't know, put you on the spot, but like if there's something you could tell yourself, like 9th, 10th grade you now, like what do you think, what would you like or what advice, or what, like, maybe did you ever think of like maybe like, oh, I don't know if that this is going to go anywhere? Did you think about not doing it? Like what would you tell 9th or 10th grade you?
I don't think I've ever asked that before. That's a good question. I don't know.
That's why I pay him the big bucks.
Right. Well, in 9th grade, I don't know if lost was the right word, but like, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Like I was, kind of a skinny, scrawny kid in high school. And I was like, what do I want to do with myself? And it almost gave me like a purpose. And again, it just started off as a school project, and now it's become something, crazy. So I don't know what advice I give, but it just, every time I think like that was the best thing that could ever happen, a couple months or whatever go by and something else great happens. So opportunities keep presenting itself, and I've been very blessed to meet the people that I've met, done the things that I've done. So I don't know, but it's been a great ride. So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that really does. And honestly, a point that you brought up there that I am going to emphasize many times over the next few weeks is the kids is like, when you're in 9th or 10th grade, like it's okay to not have it all figured out.
Yeah.
Like, I promise you it's okay. But I tell them, like, find something you
are passionate
enjoy
about.
and are good at, and like pursue it. Like, and it's, I don't know, it's cool to see kids that I knew as a 9th or 10th grader, and then they like to see them later and like, you figured it out. Like, you're doing awesome. It's a cool thing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So we're recording here on August 16th. I wanted to do this at the top of the show, but I did want to point out, as we discussed it before, and that today is apparently National Airborne Day, which is awesome in and of itself, because the Airborne Demonstration Team does a fantastic job at World War II weekend every year. disappointed when they can't make it, understandably, because the one year they couldn't come because they were doing the drop at Normandy for the 80th anniversary of D-Day. So understandable that they'd want to be there with a collection of people. But that's one of my highlights and my daughter's highlights every year, to see the airborne demonstration drop, and they do an amazing job. And I saw this pop up. I was like, wow, what a great time. We're having Tyler on the show tonight. But not only that, Justin's wife is an airborne, is a veteran. So just really great timing for that.
Yeah.
And obviously, because of how global and the length of World War II, the date of August 16th, of course, comes up in discussions. We're just a day removed from, I guess, unofficial VJ Day, because, that's when the decree went out. And really, I think it was on August 16th that it was finally propagating throughout the Pacific that, hey, we're done. This is over. This has ended. So interesting. Obviously, we've all read a lot about World War II, and there's plenty of dates that pop up all the time. But doing the show now, it was just a cool link to think about the timing of that, the National Airborne Day, and so close to, I guess, technically the unofficial end.
Meant to be.
Yeah, really, it was. It's great. So Tyler, let's I'm gonna really open it up now to you and what you've been able to do before we redirect and finish here talking about Salute to Service. But let's talk more about the veterans that you have interviewed. When you set out, did you have a number in mind? Maybe not at the very beginning when this first started, but when the ball really got rolling, were you like, I'd love to be able to talk to this many? Did you have a goal?
I think 100 was my goal.
Okay.
I think after, like you said, after the ball kind of got rolling, I think I was kind of like, I want to get to 100. And then when I passed that, I'm just like, oh, I can do way more than this. And then now it's just,
So you're way more, spoiler, you're way more than 100 based on what I've done. Do you know an exact number of what you're at in terms of recorded interviews? Because I know the production takes a long time to produce and to publish those interviews, and you do a good job of posting photos and videos of you doing the interview. But the fully polished ones are a long-term development.
Yeah.
So people will be like, well, I only see so many interviews. Where are the rest? How many have you actually done and you're working on?
It's over 1,000 that I've interviewed, World War II vets. They're primarily from Pennsylvania, but, I've been to several other states. But, yeah, it's definitely over 1,000. It takes me about 40 hours to edit a video that, like, you see on YouTube. So I think I have about, I don't know, a dozen on YouTube. So if some Karen's like, you only have 12 on YouTube. Well,
there's someone out there, because everyone likes to be a downer, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to create a profile, Joe Mays.
Great. Thank you. No. So I think you're at a lucky 13, I think is what you were at on the website. I thought I watched, I thought the last one I watched, you had labels as 13. So, but yeah, you're right around that in terms of the production. But the production is very well done. I can see why it takes you so long to put it together. When you're music and audio and archival footage, and the video recordings done with the vets are also, you can tell that you're using professional equipment and have a background, or have someone helping you in terms of the background who is helping you do this. I assume it's not just a one-man operation when you're looking across everything that's being done.
So, okay. So when it comes to like a day-to-day, when I post stuff on my social medias and stuff, that's all me. I don't have anyone else doing that for me. I run all my socials. So for people that say like, oh, you have someone doing it for you, I don't. My dad used to go with me to the actual interviews.
Okay.
But doing a lot, I've kind of just learned the pattern of setting everything up.
Sure.
So he hasn't gone with me in, I don't know, a year or two now. So I would say I do like 80% of it. Now these videos, my dad probably helps me edit like 50% of the video. He'll probably edit. So the videos my dad's super helpful on. When I have big events, he'll help me, he takes pictures and stuff like that. But I have a great supporting cast around me, parents, family, friends, but I am proud that I have done 90% of the work, I'd say. So
Wow,
yeah.
that's incredible. I guess people say you're not the one posting. They think you have like a ghost poster on these sites.
Someone said like, "Oh, you're not the person that does this work or something." I'm like, "Okay,
You
buddy."
think because of your age? You think they think you're too young to be that
Probably.
polished?
That would be
Okay.
my guess.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't know what else, how
Yeah,
else you'd
that's-
end up at that.
At no point
Yeah.
was I ever well. So I don't want to even say I met you because I literally met you tonight. But I've seen you around, and I was never like, that can't be him doing that. Like, how ridiculous of a thought is that? So I didn't realize. So when I first saw you at the Salute to Service 2 years ago, I saw you in the Jeep, and I was like,
Yep.
"That's awesome! How do you get to do that? Like, who is running these? The replicas or the reenactment? Like, where is this coming from? I didn't know." And I saw your shirt,
Yep.
because I think that first year you usually have the Keeping History Alive shirt on, and that's when I was like, "Oh, this is a much bigger thing than having the Jeep." So, where did the Jeep come into play? Was that something before the videos or after you started the interviews?
I think so. I got in upstate New York from a really nice family. And I think that was 2023. I think I got it, or 2024. I forget. But it was, I was, doing this for a while, and I've always wanted a Jeep. And I saw it on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm like, Dad, I got to get a Jeep. She said I could have it it was a really good price. And when I brought it home, all the neighbors obviously loved it because how loud it was. Yeah, no, the Jeep's awesome. I tore the whole thing apart, rebuilt it, the past year or so. It's about 90% complete. But I just wanted a Jeep for like, who can say they have a World War II Jeep and they get to drive World War II vets in it? And it's just
not enough people.
Yeah.
More people should have that opportunity. That's for sure.
Yes.
It's awesome. It's a nice little hook for you there too. It makes you stand out for sure.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not just a personal vehicle. You use it with the World War II vets that
Right.
you meet. You use it for Salute to Service, obviously, but you also appear in parades.
Yeah.
Where else have you taken the Jeep, or what else do you do with the Jeep?
Well, I, like you said, I do parades, different reenactment events, but, I'm a huge fan of Wilson. Obviously, I went there, but I try to give back to the district as much as I can. So I'll bring a veteran into a history class. Because I feel like I think the vets should go to schools more, and the kids should hear what they did because they're the greatest generation. And without them, we wouldn't be here. So I might bring a vet to a school. I'll bring the Jeep to the school, so I'll be like a visual, something that they can actually see and touch. That's always important to me. So I take it to schools and stuff like that, and once in a while, I'll take it to like a McDonald's and get the reaction of the drive-through person. But yeah,
Have you gotten some good reactions from students or people when you're just out and about with it?
Yeah. Lots of honks, lots of waves.
Head turning
Oh, yeah.
object. Yeah, for sure. So
it's not a chick magnet though.
Not a chick magnet. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. So let's talk about some of the veterans that you've interviewed.
Sure.
Obviously, we can't talk about over 1,000,
Right.
but you provided some photos. I'm going to play the slideshow here, and
Okay.
I don't know how well you can see this, but it's some great photos that you sent along. They'll only play for a few seconds, and they'll go through. But so you've been to the National World War
Yep.
II Museum. Who did you take along for that one?
I took 3 vets. That picture that was just on
let me
was
see if I can bring it back here.
his name's Frank Steller.
Let's pause that. There we
Frank
go.
the Tank. He's kind of a famous guy at this point. He does pull-ups on tanks, and he's going to be 102 in 2 weeks.
And is he the one you were just in Ohio with?
Yes. Yeah. He does a lot of adventures with me. He's an awesome dude. D-Day plus 30. Helped build landing strips in France for the fighter planes. When the bulge happened, they put him in the infantry, so he has a cool story.
How was the museum?
Oh, it was awesome.
Was that your first
is that the
trip
one in
there?
New Orleans?
Yeah, in the New
Yeah.
Orleans one. Have you been there multiple times?
Multiple.
Okay.
I think that was my first time. I think.
Okay.
But yeah, that was a fun trip.
Yeah. So, I want to go back to this one that we started at.
Okay. Yeah.
So now are these both in Normandy? I'm trying to figure out if the cemetery on the right is also.
So the one on the left, that's Frank again. So Frank the Tank, and then the guy on the left, the guy on the right, He just passed away a couple months ago. He was an awesome dude. One of my favorite vets. His name was Jacob Rooser, 4th ID, combat medic, D-Day +8, I think.
Okay.
Utah Beach, St. Lo, Cherbourg, Battle of the Bulge, Herkin Forest. I think 3 Bronze Stars, 2 Purple Hearts, I think. That picture was taken in Henri Chapelle Cemetery in Belgium.
Belgium. Okay.
So that's near the Ardennes. But
Yep.
I love and miss Jake, but he was a good one.
And so Frank, there you're with
That's at
St.
St.
Mary
Mare.
Glace,
Yep.
in front of the church
Yep.
with the. It's hard to see because I shrunk the picture down, but has the replica of the airborne soldier that was
Yep.
caught.
Yes, yeah.
John Steele was
John
his
Steele,
name.
yeah.
Yep.
He was. Well, you said he
Is
wasn't 82nd. That you said you thought he was.
He was 82nd.
He was 82nd. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Is that the same church that still has like the bloodstained
blood,
pews?
yeah, and it has
stuff
the
like that?
the stained glass windows that
Yeah.
represent. They have the religious figures, but then also paratroopers.
Right.
Yeah. So now you told me pre-show, how many times have you been to Normandy?
I think it's 3.
Okay.
3 times. I
And
think.
so obviously you've been
2 or
at
3.
St. Mary Glace. Have you been to each of the beaches?
Utah, Omaha, yes. I think Juneau, Sword and Gold, since they were Canadian and British, I think I was on those once. But I know I was on all 5 at one point. But
Okay.
I mostly have just been to Omaha and Utah, just because they're American sectors.
And have you been there during D-Day festivities?
The 80th, I was there.
Okay, that's the one I was talking
Yeah.
about. The airborne demonstration team.
That was huge. And then I was just there this year for the 82nd.
Okay.
So,
All right. So our next set of photos here, we've got a gentleman with
yeah.
a big gun
yep.
and another with a walker. How about these two vets?
So those 2 guys, both still with us. The guy on the left, Ray Parker, again, awesome dude. He's 101, 17th Airborne. So
okay, airborne.
513th Parachute Infantry Regiment, B Company, paratrooper, shipped over to France, landed in Le Havre, got to Belgium. I found the exact foxhole on the exact road. It's still there where he was captured. So on January 4th, 1945, he was captured by a German Stug outfit on a road. It's still there. And he was a prisoner of war from January 4th, 45 till May, liberated by the Russians. I saw him yesterday. He's awesome. And then the guy on the right, he's still alive. He'll be 102 in a couple weeks. Ed Jahowski. He was he's in the Navy, Fletcher class destroyer, USS Softly, last guy from a ship. He was at 16 battles in the Pacific. Yeah.
Any of those stand out as one of the
Iwo Jima, Guadalcanal,
yeah. So
Okinawa,
just those, just those.
Yeah.
All right.
Leyte.
Geez.
Yeah.
Okay, just keep throwing them out there, Tyler. So basically, every significant one that people
Yeah.
would know off the top of their head if they're into World War II.
Oh, yeah.
He was there.
He was there. Yeah.
So what's amazing to me, Tyler, before we can go on, it's been a great interview. As soon as they started about these guys, you light up. And you know everything about them still. You've met over 1,000 of them, and yet every single one of these, you immediately remember their name, all the information about where they fought, where you took them to. It's really impressive.
Well, they mean so much to me. I mean, they're like, I have friends that are my age. Like, it's not like I just hang out with 100-year-olds, but like some of these guys are my best friends. Like,
Sure.
They're awesome. It's like being best friends with like Batman and Superman. Like they're real life superheroes. So
incredible comparison, and I'm right there with you. Now this one, I know, unfortunately, Mr. Ripple passed away a few months ago. He is one that had come to the Salute to Service event over the years.
Yep.
What can you tell us about Milton?
He joined when he was 16. He was in the later years of the war. I think he joined late 44. But he was supply transport ship called the USS Pollux, and he was at Okinawa. And I think his ship was hit, or no, he saw a kamikaze attack going on in the fleet that he was in. But he was another that I was this tight with. He was a good one.
Yeah.
So.
Now I'm correct. Well, we'll get to him. We get to Salute to Service because I have some photos from that, so we can talk about that then.
That's Ray, the 17th Airborne.
Okay, that's the one you were with the gun in the previous slide. Okay,
Yeah.
and you said you just saw him again?
Yeah, yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Was he at
There was like an event going on in Reading.
Oh, in Reading. Okay.
Yeah. So he's like King of Prussia area.
Okay.
So he's somewhat local.
All right.
That guy, he's awesome. He passed away. Norman Reifsnyder.
Yep.
He lived to like 103. He lived in Burnville. 80th Infantry Division, so that's the Blue Ridge Division out of North Carolina. Landed in France about a month after D-Day. I think he was in the 318th Infantry Regiment under General Georges Patton. I think he had 2 Bronze Stars. Infantry guy, awesome dude. Yeah, he had a good story.
And he was one of the focuses of what the first published
Yes.
one on your website was Norm. And he was also at the first Wilson Salute to Service
That's
event.
right. Yep.
I have pictures of him there. And yeah, so when you sent that one, I immediately recognized him from previous events. So now, I don't remember if you sent me this one, but it was a really cool picture. Is this before a parade?
Yeah, that's the very first 4th of July parade I've ever done. And I had 5 World War II vets, and that was like 2021 maybe. And I was like, oh my God, I have 5 vets. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. But out of those 5, 4 of them are gone except for the lady. She's 104. She's still living. But
Wow.
the other 4, unfortunately, are all gone.
Have passed away.
Yep.
Now, I do see here in some of the other photos I've put up, so you do own uniforms, World War II era uniforms. How do you go about tracking those down? What did you have to do to get those?
Well, like the memorabilia, like, trust me, I love World War II. And if anyone wants to sit down, drink a beer, and talk about World War II, I'm your guy. But the memorabilia, I'm not actively searching for it unless it's super important to me, like family connection. But meeting so many of these guys, they've entrusted me with their stuff. I've had so many World War II vet uniforms, and I have a helmet. I have a German helmet that one brought home. I have a bomber jacket from a guy on a B-17, 2 actually.
Just rub it in, Tyler.
Yeah. No, but I just have so much cool stuff. Ray, the paratrooper guy, he actually gave me an original photo that was taken in England, and he hand wrote in the POW camp all their names, and on the back it says, okay, so and so was killed, so and so was captured, and it's so cool. So that's one of my favorite things. But yeah, I would have brought some of the stuff down.
Next time. We'll save it for next time. All right. So, well, let's also talk about this then as we got to the end of those photos. I still have some from Salute to Service we'll look at, but your biggest thing right now, or at least public facing biggest thing, is you are raising money to go back to some of the World War II battlefields in Europe for 2 vets. That's happening this October. And so you have a GoFundMe. So why don't you tell us about what you're trying to accomplish?
Sure. So I don't know, the past 3 years now, I've been very, very fortunate, very blessed by other veteran organizations like the Rifle. They took me back with veterans to battlefields. But, you know, as these guys, as the veterans, you know, start to decline, there aren't as many vets. A lot of these groups aren't doing these trips anymore. So I thought, you know, I know so many vets still, and so many want to see these places that they were 82 years ago. I thought, you know, why don't I do my own trip? I've done so many. I've taken 15 back with other groups. So there are actually 3 vets now. I added another one.
You're up to 3 for
I'm
this.
up to 3.
Okay.
So I have 3 World War II vets. One is named Russell Sadison. He's 100 years old. Awesome guy. So cool. Yes. He was in the 1st Infantry Division, G Company of the 18th Regiment, March 24th, 1945, small town called Ukareth, Germany. He lost his right hand in an abandoned house from an artillery shell. And we are going back to that house in Germany, and we actually got permission from the mayor of that town to actually go in the house. And then we have another guy named Truman Christian, who is in the 106th Golden Lion Division. And we will be going to the exact spot in the Ardennes where his foxhole was. And we have 5 different holes, I guess, that we can show him and one of them will be his because he was in D Company, and we have coordinates of where he would have been. So those two guys, and obviously Frank the Tank will be with us. His brother-in-law was killed in the Hurricane Forest, so we're going to take him back to his brother-in-law's grave. So it's going to be a very memorable trip.
What is that experience like, taking these guys to those places? Like, I mean, I've never been.
Mhm.
I want to go sometime. And Joey and I have talked about that a ton, but like, I can't, like, I don't know what it would be like for me to go and like experience that and just know, like, I don't know, like the weight of
Mhm.
the history that took place at these places. What is it like to take the living history back to the location?
I mean, you get chills every time you think about it. But like you said, like the weight, like these guys, they are the last of the whole greatest generation. I mean, each one of these three, they're going to be the last representatives from their division as a whole to go back to these places. So sometimes, like Truman, for example, he really didn't want to, but the one night he actually had a dream of all his buddies, and they said, go back. And he was like, Tyler, I think I'm going to do it. And stuff like that. It's like, when they say to me, I want to go see that one more time, as a 100-year-old, you're like, damn, I
Let's do
got to
it.
do it.
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Here we go. I guess we're
So,
going.
yeah.
So I know you've made other trips before.
Mhm.
Have you done the fundraising and planning for that, or is this the first one that you're really focused on
This
doing
is like my
yourself?
solo.
Okay.
I've helped fundraise for other trips, but this is like my first. I mean, I'll have volunteers with me, but it's like my first through my group. But yeah, like you said, it's just gonna very sacred ground with sacred guys. It's just there's no words to describe it, but yeah.
Well, you're just past the halfway point. So
Mhm.
here we are. About what part about or what time in October are you leaving? Early, mid?
First week in October.
Okay, so you
Yep.
have not quite 2 months to
Mhm.
go. Halfway there. So I will continue to push out the QR code and website.
Thank you.
We encourage anyone out there to donate and support the Tyler and Keeping History Alive journey back to Europe to get these three World War II vets back to battlegrounds and foxholes and
Yep.
the graves of family. So I actually was mistaken. I have some photos still here from you.
Okay.
It started in the middle of the slideshow. So we're going to jump
Sure.
back and talk about a few more vets now.
Okay.
I believe you've already mentioned both of these gentlemen, but
Yep.
you can say a little bit more about them if you'd like. This is at the Mid-Atlantic Air Museum. Was this during World War II weekend? Was this a different event?
This was not this weekend, the last year's weekend.
Okay.
On the left, Russell Sadison. As I mentioned, he's the guy, first ID, who lost his arm in Germany. And Frankie Stellar, Frank the Tank. Both of them live 5 minutes apart, and they're like best friends. So
great.
it's just those two together. I love them to death. They're two of my best friends. So those two are, they're awesome.
All right, and then we got this one.
Oh, he's he's a character. So that's his name's Guido, but we call him Bluey because his eyes are bright blue. He's an awesome dude. Cool story. He was actually 1st Division, 18th Regiment G Company, same exact company as Russell. I got them together. They're probably the last guys from G Company, and I brought them together. He's awesome. Landed Omaha Beach, second wave, dog sector of the beach. Went through all the way through the hedgerows. And he fought in Aachen, Germany, which was the first German town that was captured during World War II. And that was like a huge propaganda blow towards Germany. But he got wounded in Aachen, so that was kind of the end of his service. But his brother is still alive, and he's a World War II vet. And so if you have World War II vets, it's rare. But to have World War II vet sets of brothers,
Yeah.
and his brother was in the Pacific in the Army. So to have, it's just, and I had them in the same Jeep together, my Jeep. So to have, yeah, it's just so
Yeah,
cool.
what a moment. Yeah, what
Yeah.
a moment. You do pretty good with the brand. Is that your umbrella? Is he holding an umbrella with keeping history alive, or does that
Uh,
just happen to be similar to your?
Well, he is holding an umbrella. I don't know if it has my logo on
It
it or
looks like
not.
the Jeep, but it could be just a different car on there. That it just looks like it's a branded. I was like, man, you really got the merchandising down for sure. Absolutely. So, all right, who's this next? Oh no, we saw that one. So yeah, we jumped around. Here we go. We didn't talk about this yet. So who's in these photos? Sorry if you can
Yeah.
see them.
So the guy on the left. The guy on the left is Rubino. He was 2nd Armored Division. He was a Sherman tank driver and a Sherman tank gunner. So my buddy Adam Buck in Gettysburg owns a couple Sherman tanks. And I was like, yo, Adam, let's get this guy on a Sherman tank. So I think this was like last year. We put him on a Sherman tank for the first time since World War II. So that was,
Why don't you own a Sherman tank?
yeah.
was
Why
gonna
can't
say-
I just be like,
I was
hey,
gonna
Justin,
say,
can we drive around
You
the Sherman
saying,
tank?
yeah, my buddy has a couple Sherman tanks. I was like, I know where this is going to go now.
So yeah, and then the guy on the right's Jake Rooser, the medic. I think the last slide you had open, I talked about Frankie on the right, but the guy on the left.
I put the same Everglades photo in there twice. That's right. You're right.
No, you're good.
Yeah. So the gentleman on the left there with you.
Yeah, his name was Richard DeVerter. He passed away, but he was another favorite of mine. He was so cool. He was 8th Armored, 47th AIB C Company, I think. He was a half-track driver across, the Rhine River, Siegfried Line. 8th Armored was kind of a later armored division that came in, but I loved him. He was so cool. I mean, I love all these guys. Looking at these pictures, I kind of get teary because a lot of them are gone now, but they are, I don't know, they're just so cool. So
All right. So you met Rubino. So actually, he's one that's been at Salute to Service, I believe,
He
the
has.
last 2 years.
Yep.
And he's still with us, correct?
He's still, he's 99.
All
Yep.
right. So
He'll be there.
it's good to hear. All right. This might be the last one that I have of you with a veteran. Now, who's this gentleman?
I love this guy. His name's Levon Swank. We call him Vaughn. Very fancy name. He's also 8th Armored Division. He was a half-track driver. On March 5th, 45, a Panzerfaust, which is like a German bazooka, hit the back of his half-track, killed 11 guys in the half-track, blew off the hand of the co-driver. He crawled out, stood up, got shot in the leg by a German sniper, had to sleep under the half-track all night. And his story is, and that's me and him in a half-track for the first time since World War II, and that was last month. So I took
This is
him.
recent.
Yeah, I took him. Same guy who owns a Sherman, owns a half-track, and sorry. It was an M3A1 half-track, which was, if you're curious. And we got him in a half-track since World War II.
This just tells me I just need better friends, Tyler. Like I just need to find people that have
Get a guy with a half-track.
Yeah, exactly. So anyone out there wants a new friend, has a Sherman half-track,
Hit me up.
Just let me know. All right. Actually, okay. So that was the pictures of you with veterans. Now you sent this one along, which is great.
Yeah.
Who's in the photo you're holding?
Okay. Okay. So this picture was taken on an island called Peleliu, Peleliu.
Yeah.
And it was September 15th was D-Day on Peleliu. That island is so important to me because that's where my great-grandfather fought. There is a recording of him saying Peleliu that we have, and that's it. And I'm like, Peleliu. And then ever since I heard that, I always wanted to know more about Peleliu, and I've been more than blessed to go to this island twice now. And on this island, it's like the war happened yesterday, and everyone just went home. There's tanks, there's planes, there's guns, there's bullets, there's bombs everywhere.
Live munitions.
Millions. Yeah, there's like estimated 2 million explosives that have not gone off yet on this island, estimate. So, yeah.
I watched your interview with Trails of History. You did that about 9 months ago, and you told the story of, I believe that was when you were on Peleliu, but you and someone jumped over something and landed like right by a mine or something.
Yeah. So that tank, it's right near where this happened. It's right behind this tank to the left. There's this giant tree that fell. We kind of like hurtled over the log that was on the ground. and like a foot away there was this Japanese anti-tank mine, and the pin there's like a little like pressure plate, and it was still there. I was like a foot away. I'm like, awesome. But yeah, I'll tell you the story about the picture real quick because it's important.
Sure.
So that's a Sherman tank. It was part of the 710th Tank Battalion, which was attached to the 81st Wildcat Infantry Division. And long story short, I think it's like a week and a half. I think it was September 22nd, 44. So about a week after the battle started, I think. Don't quote me on it. That tank was sent up a hill to go rescue 2 aviators that crashed. And they went up to provide support to recover these 2 guys. And as they're going up, it hit a Japanese aerial mine that was converted to be a landmine and blew up the bottom. And 4 out of the 5 crew members were killed. And one of the crew members, his name was Howard Dahms, Dahms, and he's from Norristown. And I didn't know this until I'd done research after my first trip. And it was like 40 minutes away. And I actually found his family, and they have all of his stuff, like pictures and dog tags, and they had his diary. And I'm like, oh my God. And when I returned 2 months ago, no one has ever seen a published photo of him. So I printed out a picture of him and brought it back to that tank. And I could go on about it, but yeah.
Okay. So one, you've now been back to Pellu
Twice.
You were back to Pellu. You went once.
Yeah.
You've now been, and it was recent, it sounds like.
Yeah, like 2 months ago. Yeah.
Okay. My first question is, was it easier to get there this time? Because I know you said it took 42 hours to get there for the first trip.
It was about the same distance wise, because it's in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
And this is on modern day Palau or around Palau. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the journey like to get there?
You go from Philly or the East Coast to California, then to Hawaii, then to Guam, and then you go to Koror, which is the closest island that has an airport, and then you have to take a boat to Peleliu. And it's worth it though, because when I step on that beach or that island, I'm with my grandfather, and I know where he was on that island, and I literally get to walk in his footsteps. So it's just
on Orange Beach.
Orange Beach. Yep.
Okay. How did you find the Norristown link? How did you figure that out?
Well, right in front of that tank, you can't see it, but there's like a placard, and it has a list of all the guys that were killed.
Okay.
And like what you do, the research, just because you're interested, I was like, holy, what? This guy's from Pennsylvania. And then on Fast People Search, I found his family, and then I hit them up, and
it's for a good cause. This isn't a creepy research thing. This is there's reasons here. Literally taking his photo back to a beach.
I've been trying to contact you about your car warranty.
Yeah, this isn't anything like that. No. So that's amazing. And so were they very receptive to this then?
As soon as I called, left a message, 3 minutes later, his niece called me like crying, like, oh my gosh, like no one ever wanted to know about Uncle Howard. So it was, yeah.
Okay, so sorry, we're gonna go a different direction here, and then we need to get to salute to service. But that was a question that I wanted to ask. How I know you said it was difficult at the beginning, people to be receptive to it, or maybe get people to open up to you. Did you have a lot of roadblocks, even when you were more established? Were there any veterans or their family or caregivers that gave you a little pushback?
Sure, yeah. I mean, with HIPAA laws, nursing homes can't just be like, oh yeah, here's this guy. Like,
sure,
you really have to almost, push, I guess. But yeah, I mean, there's always been restrictions. I've reached out to different veterans groups, and they always kind of pushed me to the side, like, oh, we're not helping this high schooler, and yeah.
But I believe the shoe's on the other foot now, as it seems that now maybe they're talking to you about, hey, maybe could we use your information or have that contact information?
Yeah, once in a while I'll get someone say like, hey, could we talk to this person? And I'm like, oh, so now.
So I wanted your help and you didn't want to give it to me.
Well, how the turntable.
Yeah.
You said veterans have told you things that they've never told their families before.
Oh yeah.
Why do you think the veterans trusted you as a teenager, early 20s something with those memories, but never felt like relaying it to their family?
That's a good question. I mean, a lot of the veterans that I've interviewed, I mean, just the past week, I've interviewed two guys who have never been interviewed before. And uh, like I hear all the time, like, I never told anyone this story. So, or I've heard, like, oh boy, I'll try not to cry during this story. I've heard all that so many times, and I'm I'm very fortunate that they trust me with these stories that no one else has heard in 8 decades. So, and I reassure them, like, once, and I say this politely, like, once you're gone, those stories are gone. And my generation, they need to know what you did. And I know it's hard, but it'll benefit society so much if you tell those stories. So hearing those stories and keeping history alive is just so important to me. And I love this country, and whatever I can do to, you know, I don't know. They just mean so much to me. They saved the world from evil, and they're America and the world's greatest generation. So without them, I wouldn't be here doing this podcast. Yeah. So,
Yeah, it's a very grounded take on it, very
mm,
supportive take. I'm sure that's why they open up to you, because they know that you're the proper keeper of their stories. Um, both my grandfathers served in World War II. I never heard them really talk about it. Now, I can't say I was younger, so I didn't
right.
pursue it. I didn't know enough about it. It wasn't something that I would flat out ask them.
Mm,
But I actually probably heard most of my World War II stories from Justin's grandfather.
Mm.
He was my Sunday school teacher, and before Justin moved to the area, it was Mr. Raffoff that would we would, as junior high kids, we would try to get him off on a tangent. And
yeah.
when we found out he was a veteran and he was willing to talk about it, that was where I heard my World War II stories, was Justin's grandfather in Sunday school, before I even knew Justin.
Mm,
So that was my first exposure to it. But yeah, that's definitely a story I always remember. I wish, could go back in time and talk to my grandfathers about it and see what they would be able to tell me. So that's why I think, not just for me or for Justin, but for so many people, even though these gentlemen you've interviewed, and ladies, I know you've talked
mm,
to home front workers,
yep.
you've talked to a few, I believe, Axis members as
Mm,
well.
mm,
It's a connection, that maybe we didn't know we wanted to have, or didn't have that opportunity, and you're
mm.
providing that, um, you know, for us now. So
I mean, everyone was touched by World War II in some way or another. Your family member, a friend, someone, everyone on Earth was impacted some way or another by World War II. And just Americans alone, there were 16 million, and now they're down to about 50,000. And the number is dwindling fast. We lose about 200 a week. So it is our job to tell their stories and remember them. And, people won't forget about you if you talk about them. So that's what I'm here to do, to talk about them. So when they pass on, people will know who Jake Roos or Joe Zevertavage are. So I'm just trying to keep their memory alive. So yeah.
all
So
right, and I have the GoFundMe QR code up on the screen now, or if you're listening, check out Tyler at keepinghistoryalive.org. And if you follow the Wilson football accounts, I've posted links to the website, the YouTube page, the Facebook page, as well as the GoFundMe. I would appreciate any support you can throw Tyler's way, not just for the GoFundMe, but for the website and the exposure across social media. So, Tyler, last thing we want to finish up with then
yep.
is your connection to Salute to Service.
Mhm.
Like we've mentioned and alluded to a few times now, you were a part of that in 2024, which was the first iteration of that. And then last year in 2025, Salute to Service isn't just military related, it's also linked to the first responders. And I know one of the fathers of a current Wilson football player is big into organizing or helping organize that. State Trooper Brownback.
Mhm.
Um, what can you tell us about the origination of the idea? Were you part of the initial planning? Did someone reach out to you? How did it come about for this to be a Wilson event now?
I mean, I think I was a part of kind of like the original planning. I know they reached out to me, and they were kind of like, how do you think we could do something? They really liked what I did with the vets. And we kind of talked it over. And at first, with a really expensive turf field, they weren't keen on having old Jeeps on it. Um, but no, it was when we kind of, tossed the ball around different ideas of, ways we could honor them, we kind of agreed, all right, I'll take World War II vets out and World War II Jeeps and just, take a couple minutes to announce them. And they wanted me to do local guys, which makes sense. Guys living in the Wilson district. So, but yeah, we take, 4 to 6 vets out and Jeeps and, just, tell their stories a little bit, and the football team comes out and they really appreciate that. So
It's very well received.
mm,
Being down on the sidelines, I know it's an incredible experience. I know the coaching staff is thrilled with how it goes,
mm,
because, like you said, everyone was touched by
mm,
not necessarily World War II, but any military campaign over the last 80 plus years, but specifically to see the World War II veterans that you're able to bring along and bring out, especially with the Jeeps, brings it together really nicely.
Well,
And it's a
I
great
know
time.
so many people, like our parents, it was their parents,
Right.
mm,
and for Joey and I, it was our grandparents, and a lot of people, younger people, is maybe their great
mm,
their great grandparents who they may or may not have had the opportunity to meet and things. Yeah, like it is just, it's awesome to see the connection. It's awesome to see the connection to, and not that it would have any less value, but it's not, a 75-year-old guy running.
yeah,
And not that there aren't people involved, but
right.
like it's someone much closer in age
Sure,
to
yeah.
the kids
The
who
students,
are
yeah.
playing
Mm.
football in
Yeah.
10 minutes later than it is to the people my age or my parents' age. Like it's cool to kind of show that, yes, this does
Mm,
cross generations.
Yeah.
This is not a thing that was just in the past. It was in the past, but we need to keep this
mm,
history alive, to steal the name.
I do think that's one aspect of someone of your age and standing, to see the respect and reverence that you offer to it when that was expected of our parents, because it was their parents that had been there, and it passed down the generations. The farther and farther you get away, the less and less interest
Right.
there usually is. So when someone like you takes interest in it, I think it's reassuring for many that were involved to see that there is something lasting there. There is someone willing to speak up and talk about it still, even 85 years after the fact. So Salute to Service was awesome. It was really well done. Both years we've done it. The next one is coming up here in about a month. It's Friday, September 18th at Gursky Stadium before our home opener against Manheim Township. And I assume you'll be involved again this year.
Yeah, I gotta talk to them. I've been busy, but I promise I will be, if they want me there this year, I will bring the vets and the Jeeps. So yeah.
So that should be happening.
Yeah, I do have to return a phone call.
Let's see. Is it to Drew or Karen or
Jeff.
Oh, Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that would be another one that would be loop in, especially when you're driving Jeeps on the turf. So you've had multiple Jeeps though. Where do the other ones come from? We know you have one.
Yeah. I just,
You got a friend, right?
Yes. No, just doing this for several years, you meet people that own Jeeps, trucks, whatever. So, yeah, I have a buddy named Jim Mellon. He has a Jeep. It's a beautiful Jeep. And, I know a couple guys who own Jeeps. So I'm just like, hey guys, we're taking vets out Friday night. Who's in? And they're like, oh yeah, we're down.
Do it.
So yeah.
Great. Unfortunately, and you've kind of talked about it at length as we've discussed this evening, you're interviewing people in their late 90s, early hundreds, and you know that they may no longer be with us at a moment's notice. You've talked a bunch that have the pictures we looked at. You said, unfortunately, they're no longer with us. How do you cope with that? The loss of people you've become close with?
It's hard. I don't think people my age are meant to go to funerals as frequently as I do. I probably go to 1 or 2 funerals every month. So it's probably more. So it's hard because you're like burying your best friends. So it's hard to see them go. But then at the same time, they've touched the community. They're heroes. And, they've lived such a long, incredible, happy life. So it is sad to say goodbye. But at the same time, it's hard to be sad because you know how much they've accomplished. So, but they are fading fast, but they're still out there. And I will continue to do this as long as they're still out there. I will be interviewing vets until the last one leaves us and goes home. So, yeah, so.
So I had photos up here that I had taken from the last two events at Wilson, the Salute to Service. In the top right of the one I have up now, you're standing at midfield with the giant flag helping, I believe that's Milton.
Milton. Yep.
He sadly has passed away since the last event. I believe it was in March of this year.
Yep.
That he left us. I remember that was such an awesome moment to see him wanting to stand up and walk over and hold the flag with the
awesome.
Wilson JROTC members. Fantastic. Then you stood there to make sure he was steadied on his feet. Norm, I said, was with us in 2024 before he passed away. Got great photos of him. He looked to be having a blast the entire time he was there.
Yeah.
He just was very happy all the time. We mentioned Rubino, still with us. He was at the last two. Hopefully we'll get to see him in a month. And then one that I had pictured here on another slide, is Mr. Jack Venino, who unfortunately passed away since our event last year. And of course, he has a connection to the Wilson football program, as his son and grandson both played at Wilson, and his son is our public address announcer and always was very proud of his father. So we did want to recognize the passing of Mr. Jack Venino here this evening. He was a Wilson graduate, class of 1944, served in both World War II and Korea.
That's right. With
the 86th Infantry Division. So obviously there's a photo of you there with Mr. Venino that you passed along. What can you tell us about Jack?
Jack was awesome. He was a big motorcycle guy. So he was like this rough, tough guy. But he was so cool. He had awesome stories about being in the Philippines during World War II. During the Korean conflict, he served with his brother, so they used to goof off together. I've heard so many cool stories. But he was awesome. And his family, the Veninos, his son, everyone, they're all great people. They're just awesome. His whole family. I remember one year in the 4th of July parade, his great grandchildren wanted to sit with Pop Up in the Jeep. So they're just really cool. I miss Jack a lot. He was an awesome dude.
Well, Tyler, we're going to wrap it up here. We've gotten to our hour mark. I don't want to say unfortunately, because I'm excited to keep talking to you about this, but I do want to be respectful of your time. But we have a couple comments that have come in. First off, I'm going to go to Coach Doms and Susie mentioned that Doug and Susie visited Peleliu and Orange Beach many years ago themselves.
Whoa. Yeah. So. They have traveled the world doing diving stuff. And it said it was a side trip from one of their dives.
Palau is very big for scuba diving.
So
awesome.
Coach Doms and Susie have been to Peleliu.
That's awesome.
Orange Beach.
Because of course he has.
Because of course, yeah. We should have known better, right? Then the last thing we're going to close with is actually a question we got here on our Facebook page. Is actually coming from my cousin, who was very excited to know that you were going to be on the program. He wants to know if you ever had the opportunity to interview servicemen from the Italian campaign. We've talked about, France and the Pacific. So you've interviewed veterans from the Italian campaign?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The 36th, the 34th, and the 3rd Infantry Division, I've all met. 1st Armored. There's a guy that I just met in Connecticut. He's 103. He got a Purple Heart, and he was in Italy, landed at Anzio, was in Sicily. I know there's a guy in Berks County who was with the 88th Blue Devil Division. He was in Naples. So, the Italy campaign's really interesting. It's not talked about a lot. But...
Yeah, I know my cousin Nick is interested in that because his grandfather served and was part of the Italian campaign. He sadly passed away many years ago. But Nick and Justin are the two people that I talk to the most about everything you see here and anything that's come up this evening.
Yeah, this is not like... This is a one-off in that you were able to join us, but like
this
topic is in the text weekly.
It comes up often. So, well, Tyler, I really appreciate you being here. This was fantastic. When we only scratched the surface on the stuff we could have asked you and what you could have informed us about this endeavor that you had that I love kind of started as possibly a school project and has ballooned into a lifelong passion of yours. And Justin and I certainly wish you the best. And truly, if there's anything that Justin and I can ever do to help you, please let us know, and we will continue to spread the word. And hopefully, we can get your fundraiser to a point where you are happy to take those 3 vets back to Europe in October.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And we will, of course, see you in a month on Gursky. The turf at Instashine Car Wash Field at John Gursky Stadium with your Jeep and some veterans. We would be ever so humble if they could join us for the salute to service once again.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, Justin, do you have anything you want to add before we get out of here?
Thanks for coming. Thanks for your work. We're excited to be able to kind of sit down and talk about it, but also share it. So that's pretty awesome. I'm excited to talk to my dad, who I'm sure is going to be like pumped about like the things we talked about in the show, and I'm sure he's going to have a bunch of things like you should have asked have a list, and I'm sure it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, Nick will say that, my dad will say, and all in a good way.
Oh yeah, not right.
Yeah. So
can I say one thing?
Absolutely.
Yes. I'm just happy there's another Berks County person that was on Peleliu.
Oh yes.
You thought you were one of a kind. Now you know there's more than that.
Yeah.
You know there's 2 more.
See, my brother-in-law would say, he's from Texas. He's like, that is the most Berks County thing. He's like, the only thing that's great, like that he would expect is that you would run into someone from Berks County there, because he's like,
while you're
it
there,
happens
right?
everywhere we go.
Yeah. So I have it up on the screen right now. Check out Keeping History Alive on Facebook. Visit the website keepinghistoryalive.org. And again, I believe the next slide is of the GoFundMe. Yes, there it is. So scan that QR code, visit GoFundMe, help Tyler take 3 World War II vets back to Europe in less than 8 weeks. It's coming up quickly. But that's going to be it for us. Again, we're over an hour. We thank our guest, Tyler Boland, for being here. Justin and I will be back again. Remember, it is Saturday. We're going to do episode 6 of our 12th season. Will be Saturday evening live from the Valley Bar and Grill, one of our sponsors. And we want to have a great show with them after the scrimmage. So we will actually get to see the football team on the field on Saturday down at Coatesville. And then you can join us. The show will be at 6:30. Come out a little bit earlier, grab some great food, get some drinks, and then watch Justin and I interview Paul and cover every single game on the Wilson regular season schedule. 4 home, 6 away. We'll have a lot to talk about. So I think that's it for Justin Raffoff and the entire Wilson football program. I'm Joe Mays. And remember, until next time, go Bulldogs.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Bulldog Hour. Want more Wilson football? Follow the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud, or visit www.bulldoghour.com. The Bulldog Hour is a featured program on jmnjrradio.com.